You are very welcome to another breathing practice of inner science with the Vitality Method, which will transform your energy in just 20 minutes. I am Beto Alves Therapist, and I will guide you step by step. Make yourself comfortable, lie down comfortably, and take control of your breathing. We will begin shortly. To perform this exercise, we take 4 short breaths and 1 long breath, as deep as possible, and repeat until the end of the session. The breaths should be connected. What does this mean? When we finish inhaling, we should begin exhaling immediately. At a certain point, it feels as if the inhalation and exhalation merge. Inhalation, which is a mirror of our desire for life, for participation and openness to life itself, should be done with enthusiasm, but should not be forced. Exhalation, a mirror of our surrender to life, of acceptance and trust, should be completely relaxed and effortless. It is best to let it fall like a leaf falling from a tree or a balloon slowly deflating. The rhythm should be neither slow nor too fast, but active and gentle.
There's a weight you carry that has no name. It lives in your chest, in the heaviness of your limbs when you wake, in the fog that clouds your thoughts, even on the brightest days. You've tried to explain it to others, but the words never quite capture it. It's not depression, though it feels like sadness. It's not exhaustion, though you are always tired. It's not anxiety, though worry follows you like a shadow. This weight is older than your conscious mind. It speaks a language your body understands, but your thoughts cannot translate. And tonight, as you prepare to rest, as your consciousness begins to soften and drift towards sleep, I want you to know something important. This weight you carry is not a flaw in your being. It is not evidence that you are broken or damaged beyond repair. This weight is blocked energy. And blocked energy is simply life force that has forgotten how to flow. Imagine for a moment a river. In its natural state, a river moves with purpose and grace. It carves through stone, nourishes the land, sustains entire ecosystems. But place enough obstacles in that river, fallen trees, accumulated debris, artificial dams, and the water begins to pool. It becomes stagnant. What was once a source of life becomes murky, heavy, lifeless. Your vital energy works exactly the same way. It is meant to flow through you like that river, sustaining your body, clarifying your mind, connecting you to the invisible intelligence that governs all living things. But life has placed obstacles in your path. Trauma has built dams within you. Suppressed emotions have created blockages. Societal conditioning has redirected your natural flow into artificial channels that serve everyone but you. And so you feel heavy, tired, disconnected, not because there is something wrong with you, but because your energy is blocked. Tonight we're going to explore the 3 primary signs of blocked vital energy. Not so you can judge yourself or add more weight to what you already carry, but so you can begin to recognize where the obstacles are. Because recognition is always the first step toward flow. Awareness is always the beginning of healing. As you listen to these words, allow your body to settle into whatever position feels most comfortable. You don't need to do anything right now except listen. You don't need to fix anything or change anything. Simply allow these words to move through you, like water finding its way around stones, gradually wearing away the resistance. Your subconscious mind is already listening. It has been waiting for this conversation. And as you drift towards sleep, the deeper parts of you will continue this work, dissolving blockages, remembering how to flow, reconnecting you with the vital force that has always lived within you. Let's begin. Part 1. The first sign, chronic exhaustion. The sleep doesn't heal. The first sign of blocked vital energy is a particular kind of exhaustion. It's not the healthy tiredness you feel after a long day of meaningful work. It's not the pleasant fatigue that comes after physical exercise or deep laughter. This exhaustion is different. It lives in your bones. It greets you when you wake, as if sleep offered no restoration at all. It makes simple tasks feel monumental. It whispers that everything requires more energy than you have to give. Most people, when they experience this kind of exhaustion, believe the solution is more rest. So they sleep longer, they take breaks, they reduce their commitments. And while these things may provide temporary relief, the exhaustion always returns. Because this exhaustion is not caused by a lack of rest. It is caused by blocked energy. Let me explain what I mean. Your body is not just flesh and bone. It is a sophisticated energy system, far more complex than modern science has fully acknowledged. Ancient wisdom traditions understood this. They mapped the energy pathways in the body, gave them names, meridians, nadis, channels of chi. They understood that life force flows through these pathways like electricity through wires, like blood through veins, like water through underground rivers. When this flow is clear and unobstructed, you feel vital, alive, present. You wake with a sense of possibility. Your mind is clear. Your emotions are balanced. You move through the world with a natural grace and magnetism that draws opportunities and connections toward you. But when the flow is blocked, everything changes. Imagine trying to run a house on electricity when the wires are damaged, the lights flicker, the appliances struggle, nothing works at full capacity. You might replace the light bulbs thinking that's the problem. You might upgrade the appliances. But until you repair the wiring, the system will never function properly. Your body is the same. When your vital energy is blocked, it doesn't matter how much you sleep, or how many vitamins you take, or how carefully you manage your schedule. The exhaustion remains because the root cause hasn't been addressed. So what creates these blocks? The first and most common cause is emotional suppression. Every emotion you've ever felt that you didn't allow yourself to fully experience. Every feeling you pushed down because it wasn't safe or appropriate or convenient to express. These emotions don't disappear. They lodge themselves in your body. They become dense pockets of unprocessed energy, blocking the natural flow. Think about the last time you felt anger but couldn't express it. Maybe you were at work, or with family, or in a situation where showing anger would have created problems. So you swallowed it. You pushed it down. You told yourself you were being mature, professional, reasonable. But that anger didn't dissolve. It settled somewhere in your body, perhaps in your jaw, which you've been clenching for years, perhaps in your shoulders, which carry tension you can't quite release, perhaps in your stomach, where it manifests as mysterious digestive issues no doctor can quite explain. The same is true for grief that was never allowed to flow, for fear that was never acknowledged, for joy that was never expressed, for desire that was never honored. Each suppressed emotion becomes a block in your energy system, and each block requires energy to maintain. This is why you're so tired. A significant portion of your vital force is being used not to power your life, but to hold down the parts of yourself you've been taught are unacceptable. The second major cause of energy blocks is trauma. And when I say trauma, I'm not only referring to the dramatic, obvious traumas, though those certainly create blocks. I'm also talking about the smaller, often invisible traumas that accumulate over a lifetime. Being told to be quiet when you wanted to speak. Being laughed at when you expressed vulnerability. Being ignored when you needed attention. Being touched in ways that didn't feel right, but you had no power to stop. Being taught that your natural impulses were shameful. Being conditioned to prioritize everyone else's needs over your own. These experiences, repeated over time, teach your nervous system that the world is not safe. And when your nervous system perceives danger, whether real or imagined, it activates survival responses. Your body becomes tense, preparing for fight or flight. Your breath becomes shallow. Your awareness narrows. This is appropriate and necessary in moments of actual danger. But when the nervous system gets stuck in this state, when it never fully returns to rest, your energy becomes chronically contracted. It's like driving a car with the parking brake on. The engine has to work harder. Everything requires more fuel. And eventually, you run out. The third cause of blocked energy, and perhaps the most insidious, is the disconnection from your vital sexual energy. Now, before your mind creates resistance to this topic, let me be very clear about what I mean. I'm not talking about sex acts. I'm not talking about eroticism or seduction or anything that happens between bodies. I'm talking about the raw, creative, life-generating force that exists within every human being. The same energy that creates new life, that drives evolution, that pulses through every living thing. This energy is called many names in different traditions. In Taoism, it's called Jing. In yoga, it's Kundalini. In psychology, libido. But regardless of the name, the principle is the same. This is your most potent source of vital force. When it flows freely, it doesn't just power your reproductive system, it powers your entire being. It fuels your creativity, your passion, your magnetism, your very aliveness. But in most modern societies, this energy has become deeply problematic. We've been taught that it's dangerous, shameful, something to be controlled and suppressed. From childhood, most of us receive messages that our natural sexual impulses were wrong. We learn to disconnect from this energy, to pretend it doesn't exist, to channel it only into narrow, socially approved contexts. And in doing so, we cut ourselves off from our most powerful source of vitality. When sexual energy is repressed, it doesn't simply go away. Like any energy, it transforms. Sometimes it becomes anxiety, that restless, uncomfortable sensation that has no clear object. Sometimes it becomes depression, a heavy numbness that dulls all sensation. Sometimes it becomes chronic tension, particularly in the pelvis, lower back, and abdomen. And always it contributes to that bone-deep exhaustion you can't quite explain. Because maintaining the repression of this energy requires constant vigilance. It requires unconscious muscular tension. It requires shutting down sensation in certain parts of your body. It requires a portion of your consciousness to constantly patrol the boundaries of what's acceptable, making sure nothing inappropriate leaks through. All of this requires energy. Enormous amounts of energy. Energy that could be powering your life, your creativity, your sense of aliveness and purpose. So the first sign of blocked vital energy is this particular kind of exhaustion. An exhaustion that sleep doesn't heal, because it's not caused by physical depletion, but by energetic stagnation. As you lie here now, I want you to notice without judgment where you might be carrying this kind of tiredness. Is it in your body, your mind, your spirit? Just notice, just observe. You don't need to fix anything yet. Simply bringing awareness to the exhaustion is the beginning of allowing it to shift. Interlude, breathing into the blocks. Before we move to the second sign, let's pause here and introduce a simple practice. This is not something you need to do right now, especially if you're drifting towards sleep. But when you're ready, when you're in a moment of waking consciousness, this practice can begin to dissolve the blocks we've been discussing. The practice is deceptively simple. Conscious breathing into the places where you feel blocked. Your breath is the most direct tool you have for moving energy. In every spiritual tradition, breath is recognized as the bridge between body and spirit, between conscious and unconscious, between stagnation and flow. The Hebrew word for spirit, ruach, also means breath. The Sanskrit word prana refers both to breath and to life force. These are not coincidences. They reflect a deep understanding that breath is the carrier of vital energy. When you breathe consciously, with awareness, with intention, you begin to oxygenate and activate parts of your body that may have been dormant for years. You begin to soften chronic tension. You begin to move stagnant emotional energy. You begin to reconnect with the natural flow of your life force. Here's how to practice. Find a comfortable seated or lying position. Close your eyes, place one hand on your heart and one hand on your lower belly, just below your navel. This area, called the Dantian in Chinese medicine or the Hara in Japanese traditions, is considered the center of your vital energy. Begin to breathe slowly and deeply. Inhale through your nose, feeling your belly expand against your hand. Exhale through your mouth, feeling your belly contract. Don't force anything. Simply allow the breath to deepen naturally. As you breathe, scan your body with your awareness. Where do you feel tightness, heaviness, numbness, discomfort? These are the places where energy is blocked. Now direct your breath toward those places. This isn't a physical action so much as an intention. Imagine that with each inhale, you're sending breath, and with it, awareness and energy. directly into the blocked area. Imagine that with each exhale, you're releasing whatever is stuck there. You don't need to know what it is or where it came from. Simply breathe into it. Breathe through it. You might feel emotion arise. You might feel physical sensations intensify before they release. You might feel trembling or heat or cold. All of this is normal. All of this is energy beginning to move. Allow whatever arises without trying to control or understand it. Practice this for just 5 to 10 minutes at first. You can do it in the morning when you wake, before sleep, or anytime you feel particularly blocked or exhausted. Over time, you'll notice something shifting. The chronic tiredness will begin to lighten. Energy will begin to return. Not because you've added anything new to your life, but because you've removed the obstacles that were preventing your natural vitality from flowing. This is the beginning. Just this. Just breath. Just awareness. Just a gentle willingness to let the river of your life force remember how to flow. Wazafash. Part 2. The second sign, emotional numbness or overwhelm. The second sign of blocked vital energy manifests in your emotional life. And here, the block can show up in two seemingly opposite ways. Either you feel too much or you feel nothing at all. Either you're overwhelmed by emotions that flood you without warning, or you've become numb, moving through life in a grey fog where nothing touches you deeply. On the surface, these seem like opposite problems. But energetically, they're two sides of the same coin. Both are signs that your emotional energy is not flowing naturally. It's either backed up behind a dam, building pressure until it bursts, or it's been shut down so completely that nothing can get through. Let's explore the first pattern, emotional overwhelm. You know this pattern if you've ever found yourself crying at commercials, or flying into rage over small inconveniences, or feeling crushed by anxiety that seems to come from nowhere. Your emotions feel too big, too intense, too close to the surface. You feel like you're at the mercy of your feelings, tossed around by internal storms you can't predict or control. Most people who experience this assume they're too sensitive or too emotional. They might try to manage it by avoiding triggers, by staying busy, by using substances to numb the intensity, by building rigid routines that keep overwhelming feelings at bay. But the real issue isn't that you feel too much. The real issue is that emotional energy has been accumulating for too long without being properly processed and released. It's like a river that's been dammed. When the dam finally breaks, the water doesn't flow gently. It floods everything in its path. Every human being experiences a constant flow of emotional energy. This is natural and healthy. Emotions are meant to move through you. That's why we call them emotions, energy in motion. They arise in response to your experience. They peak, they inform you of something important, and then they pass. But most of us were never taught how to allow this natural flow. We were taught to control our emotions, to be appropriate, to not make a scene. We learned that some emotions are acceptable and others are not. We developed complex strategies for managing our emotional life, pushing down what we couldn't express, rationalizing what we couldn't accept, disconnecting from what we couldn't change. All of these strategies create blocks, and when emotional energy is blocked, it doesn't disappear. It accumulates, it builds pressure, and eventually it finds a way to break through, often at inconvenient moments, often in disproportionate ways, often in response to triggers that seem unrelated to the actual emotion you're feeling. You might find yourself sobbing after a minor disappointment, and you don't understand why this small thing affected you so deeply. But it's not about the small thing, it's about the accumulated grief you've been carrying for years that finally found a crack to seep through. You might explode in anger at your partner over something trivial, and you feel guilty afterwards, confused by your own intensity. But the anger isn't really about the forgotten errand or the misplaced item. It's about the rage you've swallowed every time you've felt unseen, unheard, unvalued. Rage that's been building pressure with no outlet. This is exhausting. Living with emotional overwhelm means you never feel safe in your own experience. You never know when the next flood will come. You might start to fear your own emotions, to see them as enemies rather than messengers. And this fear creates even more blocks, more tension, more energy expenditure. The second pattern, emotional numbness, might seem preferable to those who experience overwhelm, but it's equally problematic and equally exhausting in its own way. You know this pattern if you've ever felt like you're watching your life from behind glass. Events happen, good and bad, but nothing really moves you. You go through the motions of living, but you don't feel alive. Joy is muted. Sadness is distant. Even anger, which usually breaks through numbness more easily than other emotions, feels dull and pointless. People in this state often describe feeling like a ghost in their own life. They're present but not really there. They function, they go to work, maintain relationships, fulfill obligations, but there's a flatness to everything. The world has lost its color. This numbness is not a lack of emotion. It's a protective mechanism that has become chronic. At some point in your history, feeling was too dangerous or too painful, so your system learned to shut down emotional experience as a survival strategy. This was adaptive then. It may have allowed you to endure situations that would have been unbearable otherwise, but the mechanism that once protected you has now become a prison, because vital energy and emotional energy are intimately connected. When you shut down your ability to feel, you shut down the flow of life force through your entire being. Think about times when you felt truly alive. Perhaps it was falling in love, or experiencing profound loss, or standing before something beautiful in nature, or creating something that came from deep within you. In those moments you weren't numb. You felt everything intensely, and in feeling intensely, you felt more alive than usual. This is because emotional depth and energetic vitality are inseparable. You cannot have one without the other. When you close yourself to emotion, even to protect yourself from pain, you also close yourself to aliveness, to meaning, to the full spectrum of human experience. And maintaining this closure requires enormous energy. Your system has to constantly monitor incoming experience, constantly assess whether it's safe to feel, constantly regulate the flow of sensation so nothing breaks through the protective numbness. This unconscious process is happening every moment of every day. No wonder you're exhausted. So whether you experience emotional overwhelm or emotional numbness, the root cause is the same: blocked emotional energy. The river of feeling that's meant to flow naturally through you has been obstructed, and your system is spending vast amounts of vital force either holding back the flood or maintaining the dam. The solution is not to control your emotions better or to force yourself to feel. The solution is to learn how to allow emotional energy to flow naturally, to process and release in real time, rather than accumulating in your body and psyche. This brings us back to the body, because emotions don't just live in your thoughts, they live in your tissues. They are stored in your muscles, your organs, your nervous system. Every emotion you've ever had that wasn't fully expressed has left an imprint in your body. That tightness in your throat, it might be all the times you swallowed your words, kept your truth silent. That constant tension in your shoulders, it might be the weight of responsibilities you carry that aren't truly yours, or the burden of others' expectations. That chronic pain in your lower back, it might be related to issues of support, foundation, safety, emotional themes that have become physical symptoms. Your body remembers what your conscious mind has forgotten, and your body is trying to release these old emotional imprints. But it can't do so if you're constantly overriding its signals, distracting yourself from uncomfortable sensations, staying busy enough that you never have to feel what's actually there. This is why so many spiritual and therapeutic traditions emphasize embodiment, getting back into your body, feeling what's there, allowing sensation to exist without immediately trying to change or understand it. Because it's through the body that emotional energy can actually move and release. It's through the body that the river can begin to flow again. Practical guidance, emotional release. Practice, now we come to the practical application. If you're listening to this before sleep, simply let these words settle into your subconscious. They'll do their work beneath your awareness. But if you're awake and willing, here's a practice that can begin to restore emotional flow. Set aside 20 to 30 minutes when you won't be interrupted. Find a private space where you feel safe. This is important. Emotional release requires safety. Your system won't let go if it doesn't feel protected. Sit or lie down in a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take several deep breaths, breathing into your belly. Now ask yourself this question: what am I not allowing myself to feel? Don't try to answer intellectually. Don't analyze or think about it. Simply ask the question and wait. Feel into your body. Notice where there's tension, tightness, discomfort, or numbness. Place your hand on that area. Breathe into it and give yourself permission to feel whatever is there. You might say to yourself, it's safe to feel this. I can handle this. This emotion is allowed. What happens next might surprise you. You might suddenly feel sadness and begin to cry. You might feel anger and need to growl or hit a pillow. You might feel fear and begin to tremble. You might feel old grief and sob in a way you haven't since childhood. Let it happen. Don't try to control it or understand it or make it make sense. Your body knows what it needs to release. Trust the process. If nothing happens, that's okay too. Sometimes the blocks are so entrenched that they need more time, more safety, more gentle coaxing before they'll release. Be patient with yourself. This isn't a performance. There's no right way to do it. As the emotion moves through you, keep breathing. Keep bringing awareness to your body. Notice the sensations. Notice how the intensity rises and falls. Emotion, when allowed to flow naturally, has a wave-like quality. It builds, peaks, and then subsides. If you don't interrupt this natural cycle by suppressing or by getting caught in the story, emotions typically move through in just a few minutes. After the wave passes, you might feel exhausted, you might feel lighter, you might feel raw and tender. All of this is normal. Honor whatever you feel. Drink water. Rest. Be gentle with yourself. This practice isn't about manufacturing emotions or forcing catharsis. It's about creating space for what's already there to finally move. Do this regularly, perhaps once or twice a week, and you'll begin to notice something remarkable. Your baseline emotional state becomes more balanced. The overwhelm happens less frequently. The numbness begins to lift. You start to feel more present, more alive, more like yourself. And as emotional energy begins to flow again, so does vital energy, because they are one and the same. Sadomos Part 3, the third sign, loss of magnetism and purpose. The third and perhaps most subtle sign of blocked vital energy is a loss of magnetism, that intangible quality that makes life feel meaningful, that draws opportunities and connections toward you, that gives you a sense of being aligned with something larger than yourself. When your energy is flowing freely, you have a natural magnetism. People are drawn to you, though they might not be able to explain why. Opportunities seem to find you without excessive effort. Coincidences work in your favor. You feel connected to a sense of purpose, even if you can't always articulate what that purpose is. You move through life with a feeling that you're in the right place, doing what you're meant to do, becoming who you're meant to become. But when your energy is blocked, all of this disappears. You feel invisible, as though no one really sees you. You work hard, but nothing seems to pay off. The right opportunities never come, or they come but somehow slip away. Relationships feel flat and unfulfilling. You look around at your life and wonder how you ended up here, doing these things, being this person. Nothing feels meaningful. You're going through the motions, but you've lost the thread of why. This is perhaps the most spiritually painful symptom of blocked energy, because humans are not just physical and emotional beings. We're also meaning-making creatures. We need to feel connected to something larger than our individual survival. We need to feel that our existence matters, that we're contributing something, that our life has purpose and direction. When vital energy is blocked, this sense of meaning evaporates. And without meaning, life becomes a burden rather than a gift. Let me explain why this happens. Your vital energy is not just fuel for your physical and emotional body. It's also the carrier of your unique life purpose, what some traditions call your dharma, your calling, your essential nature. This isn't a specific career or a single task you're meant to accomplish. It's more like a quality of being, a particular way you're meant to contribute to the world, a unique vibration you bring just by being fully yourself. When your energy flows freely, you naturally align with this purpose. You don't have to figure it out intellectually or search for it externally. You simply feel drawn towards certain activities, certain people, certain expressions. You feel alive and engaged when you're moving in the right direction. You feel contracted and deadened when you're moving away from it. This is your vital energy communicating with you, guiding you toward your highest expression. But when your energy is blocked, when you're cut off from the deeper currents of life force within you, you lose access to this guidance system. You can't feel what's right anymore. You can't distinguish between what you actually want and what you've been conditioned to want. You can't hear the subtle yes and no of your own inner knowing. And so you drift. You make decisions based on what seems logical or safe or expected. You follow paths that look good on paper, but feel empty in your lived experience. You achieve things that don't actually fulfill you. You maintain relationships that don't really nourish you. You build a life that looks successful from the outside but feels hollow from the inside. This disconnection from purpose is one of the most common sources of what we call midlife crisis, though it can happen at any age. It's that moment when you suddenly wake up and realize you've been living someone else's life. You've been following someone else's script. You've been trying to fulfill expectations that were never truly yours. And beneath the surface realization is a deeper truth. You've lost connection with your vital energy, and in losing that connection, you've lost yourself. The loss of magnetism is closely related to this. Magnetism is what happens when your vital energy is flowing and expressing itself authentically. When you're connected to your life force, when you're allowing your unique essence to move through you without obstruction, you become attractive in the deepest sense of the word. Not attractive in a superficial physical way, though that often happens too, but attractive in a spiritual and energetic way. You draw toward you what's aligned with your true nature. You repel what's not meant for you. You don't have to force or manipulate or strategize. Things flow toward you and through you naturally, because you're in harmony with the deeper currents of life. But when your energy is blocked, this natural magnetism disappears. You have to push an effort and force things to happen. Nothing flows easily. You feel like you're swimming upstream in every area of your life. Doors close more often than they open. The universe, which once seemed supportive, now feels indifferent or even hostile. This isn't because the universe has turned against you. It's because you've turned against yourself. You've blocked the very energy that would allow you to move in harmony with life's natural rhythms. So what blocks this connection to purpose and magnetism? The first obstacle is the same one we've already discussed: repressed emotion and unprocessed trauma. When significant portions of your energy are tied up in holding back feelings and maintaining protective patterns, you don't have enough free-flowing energy to connect with your deeper purpose. You're in survival mode, and purpose is not a survival priority. Safety is, control is. But purpose requires you to move beyond survival into expression, creativity, contribution, and that's only possible when you have energy to spare. The second obstacle is living according to external validation rather than internal alignment. From early childhood, most of us learn to orient our lives around pleasing others, meeting expectations, achieving what we're supposed to achieve. We learn to override our own instincts and follow external authorities, parents, teachers, religious leaders, cultural norms, societal definitions of success. There's a place for learning from others and considering different perspectives. But when external validation becomes your primary compass, you lose access to your internal guidance. You can no longer feel what's true for you versus what you've been told should be true. You make decisions based on what looks good or what will be approved, rather than what actually aligns with your essence. And your vital energy knows the difference. Even if your conscious mind has successfully rationalized why you should want what you're pursuing, your life force can't be fooled. It knows when you're moving toward your authentic expression and when you're moving away from it. And when you're consistently moving away from it, it withdraws. It stops flowing fully through you. This is not a punishment, it's feedback. Your energy is trying to tell you something. It's trying to guide you back to alignment. The third obstacle, and this connects back to everything we've discussed, is the disconnection from your vital sexual energy. Remember, sexual energy is not just about reproduction or physical pleasure. It's the creative force of the universe expressing itself through you. It's the same energy that causes seeds to sprout, that drives evolution, that fuels every act of creation. This energy, when flowing freely, is your connection to the creative intelligence that underlies all of existence. When this energy is blocked, through repression, shame, unconscious tension, chronic disconnection from your body, you lose access to this creative intelligence. You lose your connection to the force that wants to create through you, that wants to express your unique gifts, that wants to align you with your purpose. Many spiritual traditions have recognized this. Tantric practices, Taoist inner alchemy, certain Kabbalistic teachings. They all work with sexual energy, not as something base or sinful, but as the key to spiritual awakening and creative power. They understood that this energy, when cultivated and directed consciously, becomes the fuel for your highest expression. But in modern Western culture, we've been taught the opposite. We've been taught that sexual energy is something to be ashamed of, controlled, expressed only in narrow contexts, kept separate from our spiritual and creative lives. And in making this split, we've cut ourselves off from our most potent source of vital force. So the loss of magnetism and purpose, that feeling of drifting through life without meaning, of working hard but getting nowhere, of being invisible and disconnected, is a direct result of blocked vital energy in all its forms. The deeper pattern, how all three signs connect. Now let's step back and see how these three signs are interconnected, because understanding the pattern is crucial for healing it. The chronic exhaustion that sleep doesn't heal. This is the foundation. When your energy is blocked, your entire system becomes depleted. You're constantly running on empty because so much of your life force is tied up in maintaining the blocks rather than flowing freely through your being. The emotional overwhelm or numbness. This is both a cause and an effect. Unprocessed emotions create energy blocks, and energy blocks prevent emotions from flowing naturally. It's a feedback loop that perpetuates itself until you intervene. The loss of magnetism and purpose, this is the consequence. When you're exhausted and emotionally dysregulated, you simply don't have the energy or clarity to connect with your deeper purpose. You can't access your natural magnetism because magnetism requires free-flowing energy. And your energy isn't free. It's trapped behind walls of tension, suppression, and disconnection. These three signs are like three symptoms of the same underlying disease. Treating any one of them in isolation will provide limited relief. But address the root cause, the blocked vital energy, and all three symptoms begin to heal naturally. This is why so many conventional approaches to healing fall short. You go to a doctor for exhaustion, and they tell you to sleep more, take vitamins, maybe prescribe medication. But the exhaustion persists because its root isn't physical, it's energetic. You go to therapy for emotional problems, and you talk about your feelings, maybe learn some coping strategies. And this helps, certainly. Talking can be powerful. But if the therapy doesn't include the body, doesn't help you actually release the emotions that are stored in your tissues, the relief is often temporary. You read self-help books about finding your purpose, and they tell you to follow your passion, discover your why, create vision boards. But no amount of mental clarity will give you access to your purpose if your vital energy is blocked. Purpose isn't something you figure out with your mind. It's something you feel into with your whole being, and that requires free-flowing energy. So what's the real solution? The solution is to address the blocks directly, to learn how to restore the natural flow of vital energy through your entire system: physical, emotional, sexual, spiritual. To reconnect with the river of life force that has always been running beneath the surface of your awareness, waiting for you to remember it, waiting for you to clear the obstacles so it can nourish you again. This is not a quick fix. These blocks have been building for years, maybe decades, maybe your entire life. They won't dissolve overnight, but they can dissolve. Energy wants to flow. Life wants to move through you. Your body wants to heal, your emotions want to process and release, your spirit wants to express itself fully. All you need to do is stop working so hard to maintain the blocks. All you need to do is create conditions where the natural flow can resume. Practical integration, the daily energy practice. We've covered a lot of ground, and your mind might be feeling overwhelmed with information. But here's what I want you to remember. Healing blocked energy doesn't require complex techniques or years of therapy or perfect understanding of how it all works. It requires 3 simple commitments. Practice daily. First, conscious breathing into your body, especially into the areas that feel tight, numb, or uncomfortable. 5 to 10 minutes each morning. This alone will begin to shift everything. Second, allowing emotional energy to move when it arises, rather than immediately suppressing or distracting from it. This doesn't mean having emotional breakdowns in public or being inappropriate. It means creating regular time and space, maybe in the evening, maybe on weekends, where you can feel what you actually feel without judgment or interference. Third, reconnecting with your body as a source of pleasure, aliveness, and sensation, not just as a machine to be managed or a problem to be solved. This might mean dance, or self-massage, or simply taking time to really feel the water when you shower, to really taste your food, to really notice the sensation of your body moving through space. These 3 practices work together to gradually dissolve the blocks we've been discussing. They don't require special equipment or expertise. They just require consistency and a willingness to feel. Let me give you a specific structure you can follow. Morning practice, awakening your energy. When you wake, before checking your phone or jumping into your day, spend 5 to 10 minutes connecting with your vital energy. Lie on your back. Place one hand on your heart, one on your belly. Close your eyes. Begin to breathe deeply, feeling your belly rise and fall. With each inhale, imagine you're drawing golden light up from the earth, through your feet, through your legs, into your pelvis, your belly, your chest. With each exhale, imagine this light spreading through your entire body, dissolving tension, awakening dormant energy. After several rounds of this, scan your body. Where do you feel blocked, heavy, numb, tight? Direct your breath there. Breathe into that area as if your breath could reach directly into the block. Don't force anything. Simply offer awareness and breath. If emotion arises, sadness, anger, fear, even joy, let it be there. You don't need to act on it or express it outwardly right now. Just acknowledge it. I feel this. It's okay to feel this. After 5 to 10 minutes, place both hands over your lower belly. This is your power center, your source of vital energy. Say to yourself, silently or aloud, my energy is mine. It flows freely. I am alive. Then get up and begin your day. This simple practice done consistently will begin to shift your baseline energy level within weeks. Midday practice, maintaining flow. Sometime in the middle of your day, when you notice yourself becoming depleted or disconnected, take 3 to 5 minutes to reset. Find a private space, a bathroom stall, your car, a quiet corner. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, exhaling with sound. A sigh, a hum, a low tone. Let the sound vibrate through your body. Then shake, literally shake your body. Start with your hands, then your arms, then let the shaking move into your torso, your legs. Shake out the tension, the stagnation, the accumulated stress of the day. This might feel silly. Do it anyway. Your body knows what it needs. After a minute of shaking, stand still. Feel the energy moving through you. Feel the aliveness that's been awakened. Take 3 more deep breaths, then return to your day. This micro practice prevents energy from accumulating and stagnating. It keeps the flow moving throughout the day. Evening practice, processing and release. Before sleep, create a ritual for processing the day's emotional and energetic residue. Sit comfortably, Light a candle if that helps you create a sense of sacred space. Close your eyes. Ask yourself, what am I carrying from today that isn't mine to carry? Maybe it's someone else's stress that you absorbed. Maybe it's frustration from an interaction. Maybe it's anxiety about tomorrow. Whatever comes to mind, acknowledge it. Then imagine placing it in front of you, outside your body. Visualize it as a stone, or a weight, or a dark cloud, whatever image arises naturally. Take a deep breath and, as you exhale, imagine blowing that weight away from you. It dissolves into the air, returns to the earth, transforms into light, whatever feels right. You're releasing what isn't yours. Next ask, what emotion did I not allow myself to feel today? Again, wait for the answer. Maybe you swallowed anger during a meeting. Maybe you pushed away sadness when you saw something that touched you. Maybe you dismissed your own needs because others seemed more important. Whatever emotion arises now, give it space. You're alone. You're safe. Let yourself feel it. If tears come, cry. If your body wants to tense with anger, let it tense. If you need to curl up with sadness, curl up. Remember, emotions are just energy in motion. They're not dangerous. They won't destroy you. They'll move through you if you let them, usually within minutes. After the emotion has moved, place your hands on your heart. Breathe. Offer yourself compassion. I felt that. I'm still okay. I'm still here. Finally, set an intention for your sleep. As I sleep, my subconscious mind continues this work. It dissolves blocks. It restores flow. It reconnects me with my vital energy. I wake tomorrow more aligned, more alive, more myself. Then sleep. Trust that your deeper wisdom is working on your behalf, even as you rest. Sexual energy. The often avoided conversation. We need to address directly what many people avoid. The role of sexual energy in all of this. I've mentioned this several times, but let me be explicit now, because this is where the most significant blocks often exist and where the most powerful healing can occur. Your sexual energy is not separate from your vital energy. It is your vital energy in its most concentrated, powerful form. This is why sexual experiences can be so intense, so overwhelming, so transformative. You're not just experiencing physical sensation, you're touching the raw creative force of existence itself. In a sexually healthy person, by which I mean someone whose sexual energy flows freely and is integrated with their whole being, this energy fuels everything. It powers their creativity, their passion for life, their ability to connect deeply with others, their sense of being fully alive in their body, their magnetic presence. But most people are not sexually healthy in this sense. Most people have a complicated, fraught relationship with their sexual energy. A relationship shaped by shame, trauma, repression, confusion, and cultural conditioning that ranges from unhelpful to actively harmful. Some people have learned to disconnect from sexual energy entirely, to pretend it doesn't exist or doesn't matter. This is common among people raised in strict religious environments, or people who experience sexual trauma, or people who absorb the message that sexual feelings are dirty or sinful. Other people have the opposite pattern. They are hypersexualized, constantly thinking about sex, frequently seeking sexual experiences, but in a way that's compulsive rather than genuinely satisfying. This pattern often develops as a way to discharge overwhelming energy, or to feel something in a life that otherwise feels numb, or to temporarily escape from difficult emotions. Both patterns, complete repression and compulsive expression, represent blocked energy. In the first case, the energy is dammed up, creating pressure and tension throughout the system. In the second case, the energy is leaking out constantly, preventing you from building the vital force necessary for deeper transformation and creative power. The healthy middle path is what some traditions call sexual cultivation or sexual consciousness. This means you acknowledge and honor your sexual energy as a sacred force, not something shameful or base. You become aware of this energy as it moves through you. The subtle arousal that rises and falls throughout the day, the way this energy responds to beauty, connection, creativity, inspiration, You learn to feel this energy without immediately acting on it, to let it build and circulate through your body rather than either suppressing it or discharging it reflexively. You discover how to direct this energy intentionally, sometimes into sexual expression, yes, but also into creative projects, into healing, into spiritual practice, into simply feeling more alive and present. This isn't about becoming celibate or controlling your sexuality in some puritanical way. It's about developing a conscious relationship with this powerful force, learning to work with it rather than being controlled by it or cut off from it. Let me give you a practical example of what this looks like. You're going about your day and you notice a stirring of sexual energy. Maybe you saw someone attractive. Maybe you thought about an intimate memory. Maybe the energy arose for no obvious reason. It does that, especially as you start clearing blocks and allowing it to flow more freely. The unconscious response is usually one of two things. Either suppress it immediately. I shouldn't be feeling this. What's wrong with me? Push it down. Or discharge it as quickly as possible. Through fantasy, through seeking sexual stimulation, through sexual activity. The conscious response is different. You notice the energy arising. You feel it in your body, maybe as warmth, tingling, aliveness, heightened sensation. Instead of suppressing or discharging, you breathe with it. You let it circulate. You enjoy the feeling of being alive, of having this powerful force moving through you. You might direct it into your creative work. You might use it to fuel physical exercise. You might simply let it amplify your presence and awareness as you move through your day. Or you might choose to express it sexually, but now as a conscious choice rather than a compulsive reaction. The key is that you're working with the energy, not against it, or in unconscious submission to it. Over time, as you practice this, something remarkable happens. Your baseline vitality increases. You have more energy for everything. You feel more confident, more magnetic, more alive. Creative ideas flow more easily. You connect with others more deeply. Your sense of purpose becomes clearer. This isn't magic. It's simply what happens when you stop blocking and start allowing one of your most powerful energy sources to flow naturally through your system. For many people, this work requires addressing old wounds and conditioning. You might need to heal sexual trauma. You might need to unlearn shame-based messages you absorbed in childhood. You might need to forgive yourself for past experiences you've judged as wrong or shameful. This is tender work. It can't be rushed, and it's worth doing. Because on the other side of this healing is a degree of aliveness and power most people never experience. Your sexual energy is your birthright. It's not something to be ashamed of or afraid of. It's the creative force of the universe expressing itself uniquely through you. When you reclaim it, honor it, and learn to work with it consciously, you reclaim a core part of yourself that's been exiled for too long. The spiritual dimension, connecting to something larger. Everything we've discussed, the energy blocks, the practices, the healing, happens within a larger context that's essential to understand. You are not just an isolated individual trying to fix yourself. You are a unique expression of the universal life force that animates all things. The same energy that makes your heart beat without your conscious effort, that heals your wounds, that grows your hair and digests your food. This is not your personal energy. It's universal energy flowing through your particular form. When your energy is blocked, you feel separate. You feel like you're alone, struggling against a difficult world, trying to survive through your own effort and will. This sense of separation is itself a symptom of energetic blockage. When your energy flows freely, you naturally feel connected to something larger than yourself. You might call this God or the universe or the Tao or consciousness or nature. The name doesn't matter. What matters is the felt sense that you are not alone, that you're supported by an intelligence that's vastly greater than your individual mind, that you are part of an interconnected web of life that's ultimately benevolent. This isn't a belief you need to adopt. It's an experience that arises naturally when blocks dissolve. You begin to notice synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to guide you toward what you need. You feel pulled in certain directions, and when you follow those pulls, things work out in ways you couldn't have planned. You sense that your life has a rightness to it, even through difficulties. This is what some traditions call grace, or flow, or being in the Tao. It's the natural state of a being whose energy is unobstructed. From this perspective, all the work we've been discussing is not really about self-improvement. It's about removing the obstacles that prevent you from experiencing your true nature, which has always been whole, always been connected, always been sustained by the infinite source of life itself. The blocks, the repressed emotions, the chronic tension, the sexual shame, the disconnection from your body, these are not fundamental to who you are. They are just accumulated debris in the river. And as you clear the debris, the river remembers how to flow. It doesn't need to be taught. It doesn't need to try. It just flows because flowing is its nature. Your nature is to be alive, vibrant, connected, purposeful, magnetic. Your nature is to feel deeply, to create boldly, to love fully, to express your unique essence without apology. Your nature is to be in communion with the creative intelligence that's orchestrating this entire cosmos. The blocks are what happens when you forget this nature, when you believe the stories about who you should be instead of remembering who you actually are. So as you engage in these practices, the breathing, the emotional release, the body awareness, the sexual consciousness, remember that you're not constructing something new. You're uncovering what's always been there. You're not fixing yourself because you were never truly broken. You're just removing the layers of protection and conditioning that made you forget your essential wholeness. This changes everything about how you approach the work. It's no longer a grim project of self-improvement, laden with self-judgment, and the anxiety of whether you're doing it right. It becomes an exploration, a remembering, a gentle return to yourself. And it happens not through force, but through allowing. Not through controlling, but through releasing. Not through adding more, but through subtracting what was never yours to begin with. Working with resistance. As you begin to apply these practices, you will encounter resistance. This is guaranteed. Resistance is not a sign that something is wrong or that the practices aren't working. Resistance is a sign that you're approaching something important. The blocks in your system are there for a reason. At some point they were protective. They helped you survive situations that felt overwhelming or dangerous. They helped you function in environments that weren't safe for your full expression. As you start to dissolve these blocks, a part of you will panic. The protective mechanisms that have been running your life for years will perceive the changes as a threat. They'll generate thoughts like, "This is stupid, it's not working. I don't have time for this. I'm too tired to do practices. Nothing is changing anyway." And this is just self-indulgent nonsense. Or they'll create distractions. Suddenly you're incredibly busy, or you get sick, or relationship drama erupts, or you find yourself obsessively engaged in activities that prevent you from doing the inner work. This is resistance, and it's completely normal. The key is to recognize it for what it is. Don't believe the thoughts it generates. Don't take the bait of the distractions. Simply acknowledge, there's resistance. That means I'm close to something important. Then continue gently. You don't need to fight resistance. Fighting it just creates more tension, more blocks. Instead, you approach it with curiosity and compassion. What is this resistance protecting me from? What does it think will happen if I let go? What does it need in order to feel safe enough to release? Sometimes just asking these questions softens the resistance. Sometimes you need to negotiate with it. I understand you're trying to protect me. Thank you, but I'm safe now. I can handle feeling this. You can relax. The most important thing is to keep showing up to the practice, even when you don't feel like it, even when nothing seems to be happening, even when resistance is screaming that this is pointless. Because the practice itself, the consistency of it, the gentle returning to your body and breath and awareness day after day, this is what gradually dissolves the blocks. Not through force, but through persistent, patient presence. Think of it like clearing a clogged drain. You don't blast it with maximum pressure all at once. You apply steady, consistent pressure, and eventually the blockage dissolves and the water starts flowing again. Your energy is the same. Steady, consistent practice will dissolve what's blocked, but you have to keep showing up. You have to keep offering your body and your nervous system the message: it's safe to let go, it's safe to feel, it's safe to flow. Integration. Small shifts, big changes. I want to emphasize something crucial. You don't need to overhaul your entire life to begin experiencing the benefits of these practices. You don't need to quit your job, end your relationships, move to a monastery, or spend hours each day in meditation. Small, consistent shifts create big changes over time. 5 minutes of conscious breathing each morning, 3 minutes of shaking at midday, 10 minutes of emotional processing before sleep. This is enough. This is more than most people ever do. The transformation doesn't happen because you're doing something dramatic or extreme. It happens because you're consistently choosing awareness over unconsciousness, presence over distraction, feeling over numbing. And as you make these choices again and again, day after day, something shifts in your system. The river of your vital energy begins to remember its natural path. The blocks begin to dissolve, not through force, but through the simple persistence of water wearing away stone. You'll notice the changes in small ways at first. You wake up feeling slightly more rested, even though you slept the same amount. You respond to a situation with presence instead of reactivity, and you notice the difference. You feel a flicker of genuine excitement about something, a feeling you haven't experienced in years. You make eye contact with a stranger and feel a moment of real connection. You create something, a meal, a piece of writing, a solution to a problem, and it flows more easily than usual. These small moments are evidence that your energy is starting to flow again. Don't dismiss them as insignificant. They're not. They're seeds of a much larger transformation. Because as your energy continues to open, these small moments become more frequent. The good days outnumber the heavy days. The alive moments expand. The sense of purpose and meaning starts to return, tentatively at first, then more solidly, and one day you'll realize that you're not the same person who started this journey. You haven't become someone new. You've become more fully yourself, more present, more alive, more connected to the intelligence that flows through all things. This is what's possible when you clear the blocks and allow your vital energy to flow. Otsana. The subconscious work, letting go while you sleep. As you prepare to sleep now, or whenever you listen to this recording before rest, know that the most profound work happens not through conscious effort, but through surrender. Your conscious mind can understand these concepts. It can apply the practices. It can remember to breathe, to feel, to stay present, and all of that is valuable. But your subconscious mind, the vast intelligence that runs 90% of your experience without your awareness, this is where the real transformation occurs. Your subconscious doesn't need convincing or explanation. It doesn't need techniques or methods. It just needs permission. It needs the message that it's safe to let go, safe to heal, safe to return to the natural flow of energy that's always been your birthright. And sleep is when your subconscious is most receptive to this message. So as you drift now, as your conscious mind releases its grip and your awareness softens into the darkness, imagine that you're releasing all the blocks we've discussed, the chronic exhaustion that sleep doesn't heal. Imagine it dissolving like morning mist in sunlight, the emotional overwhelm or numbness. Imagine your heart opening like a flower, allowing feelings to flow through you as naturally as breath. The loss of magnetism and purpose. Imagine yourself reconnecting with the cosmic intelligence that knows exactly why you're here, exactly what you're meant to contribute. You don't need to make this happen. You don't need to visualize it perfectly or feel it completely. Just offer the intention. I release these blocks. I allow my energy to flow. I am open to healing. Your subconscious will receive this message. And throughout the night, as your body repairs itself and your mind processes the day's experiences, this deeper healing work will continue. You might not remember it. You might not feel it consciously, but you'll know it happened because you'll wake different, lighter, more yourself. Trust this process. Trust that the same intelligence that knows how to beat your heart and heal your wounds also knows how to clear your energy blocks and restore your vitality. All you have to do is stop interfering. All you have to do is allow. Closing. The invitation. We've covered tremendous ground together. We've explored the 3 primary signs of blocked vital energy, the exhaustion that sleep doesn't heal, the emotional overwhelm or numbness, and the loss of magnetism and purpose. We've looked at the root causes: suppressed emotion, unprocessed trauma, disconnection from the body, repression of sexual energy, living according to external expectations rather than internal truth. We've discussed practical approaches: conscious breathing, emotional release practices, body awareness, sexual consciousness, daily rituals that support energy flow. And we've touched on the spiritual dimension, the recognition that you're not a separate self struggling alone, but a unique expression of the universal life force that's ultimately trying to restore you to wholeness. But all of this information is meaningless unless you actually apply it, unless you take these concepts from your head into your lived experience. So here's my invitation to you. Choose one practice, just one: the morning breathing practice, or the midday reset, or the evening release ritual. Choose the one that resonates most strongly, the one you can actually see yourself doing. Commit to it for 30 days, every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when it seems pointless, even when resistance tells you to skip it. Just 5 to 10 minutes, that's all. And notice what changes. I'm not promising miracles. I'm not saying all your problems will vanish or your life will transform overnight, but I am saying that something will shift, because it must. Energy wants to flow. Life wants to move through you. Your body wants to heal. All it needs is your willingness to show up consistently, patiently, with compassion for yourself and trust in the process. 30 days from now, you'll look back and see evidence of change, small shifts that accumulate into something significant. And those small shifts will give you the motivation to continue, to go deeper, to explore further. This is how transformation happens, not through grand dramatic gestures, but through small, consistent choices made over time. And if you fall off the practice, if you miss days or forget or get distracted, don't make it mean anything about you. Don't use it as evidence that you're failing or that this doesn't work. Simply begin again. Today, now, this moment. Every moment is a new opportunity to choose flow over stagnation, presence over unconsciousness, life over the slow death of disconnection. You have everything you need. The vital energy is already within you. The capacity to heal is already present. You're not waiting for something external to save you or fix you. You're simply remembering how to clear the path so that your natural aliveness can express itself fully. This is your birthright. This is your nature. This is who you've always been, beneath the layers of protection and conditioning. Welcome home to yourself. Welcome back to the flow. Welcome to the fullness of your vital energy. Final meditation, releasing into sleep. And now, as we complete this journey together, allow yourself to fully release into rest. Let your body sink into whatever surface is supporting you. Feel the weight of your bones. Feel the earth holding you, supporting you, just as it has every moment of your life. Take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your belly, your chest, your throat, and exhale completely, releasing everything, every thought, every tension, every effort. Again, breathe in life, light, energy, healing. Breathe out all that you've been carrying that was never yours to carry. One more time. Inhale deeply, drawing in your vital force. Exhale fully, letting go, letting go, letting go. And now, allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. You don't need to control it anymore. Your body knows how to breathe. Trust it. As you drift towards sleep, imagine golden light surrounding your entire being. This light is your vital energy, your life force, your connection to the infinite source of all existence. See this light flowing through you, dissolving any remaining blocks, clearing any stagnant energy, restoring you to your natural state of wholeness. You are held by something far greater than your individual consciousness. You are supported by the same intelligence that spins galaxies and orchestrates the seasons and brings forth new life from apparent death. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And as you sleep, this cosmic intelligence continues its work within you, healing what needs healing, releasing what needs releasing, restoring you to the fullness of your being. Trust this. Surrender to this. Allow this. You are exactly where you need to be. Everything is unfolding in perfect timing. All is well, even if it doesn't feel that way right now. Let yourself drift now. Let consciousness fade into the mystery of sleep. Let your subconscious mind receive these truths and weave them into your being. Tomorrow, you wake as more of yourself, more alive, more connected, more whole. For now, just rest, just breathe, just be. All is well. You are loved, you are safe, you are home. Sleep now, sleep deeply, sleep peacefully. And let the healing continue in the depths of your being, gently, naturally, perfectly. Good night.